Welcome members to Scroll Society, a members-only club for those who are chronically online. This podcast is not your typical podcast. This podcast is dedicated to everyone who is glued to their phone, who keeps up with the world, the news, everything around them through this little contraption called our phones. This has now become an extended appendage of my body. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm always online, and I have found a community online. You guys are my community. We discuss and tete-a-tete about all of the cool things that are happening or the crazy world that is moving around us. We connect over the trauma of this crazy, ever-changing world, with all of the news that's going on, with all of the aliens and the drones and the celebrity drama and the crime rings and the ditties of it all. Like, literally, that's how we connect with each other. And now this is a safe space. This podcast will be a safe space to discuss all of these crazy things, the world around us, the deep dives, the just commentary and anything that comes to mind, just in long form. I think you guys are so used to having me in short form, and I would like to shout out to Jahina, my friend who has her own podcast called Press Pause, who said that to me. I was on her podcast and she was like, it's nice to have you not in short form. I'm like, that is a very interesting way of putting it. I am taking it. So thank you, Joe. I love you. Go follow her, watch her podcast. She is amazing. An amazing person. Anyways, this podcast is just all the shit that I really like. And I love the world around me. I love commenting about all of the things that I see. And so I was like, you know what? I know you guys wanted me to come back to podcasting because you guys have been hitting me up in the DMs all the time. I get it in the DMs, I get it in the comments, I get it in the lives. I see you, I hear you, and I have been sitting on this because I wanted to make sure that I deliver a podcast that is worth it, that is worth your time, worth your energy, and something that you would enjoy. I didn't want to do podcasts just for the sake of podcasting. I don't want to do a podcast because I want to get famous. That would be nice one day, inshallah. Just because I'd like, not the fame, I would just like to, I would just like to make it, okay? I think we all have our own goals and there's no shame in that. But I didn't want to do something that was just your generic podcast. I wanted something to be special. And I wanted something to be authentically me, but at the same time, to harbor a sense of community, right? I wanted this to be a safe space where people can come and be like, oh my God, I've also been thinking of this thing. And I've also been thinking of this, conspiracy theory, but no one in my actual world cares about it. Well, I care about it, okay? And we can talk about all of the conspiracy theories together. We can talk about all of the celebrity drama together. We can talk about the drones and the aliens and all of that. And we can also talk about just our thoughts, did we like the Dubai chocolate? I kind of did. It's kind of really, really growing on me. So, there are many different things that we could discuss on this podcast. You and me in the comments section. You guys send me, we can have these conversations back and forth. And at the same time, add a little bit of spice, put in my little bit of opinions, because I am an opinionated person. I tried to say that I'm not, and I tried to say that I please everybody, but you know what? I'm okay with not pleasing everybody. I'm okay with not being everybody's cup of tea. That's fine. So long as I'm authentically myself. You'll be getting the news, you'll be getting, updates, you'll be getting deep dives, just from my opinion, from my world lens. So I hope that's okay. I hope you enjoy this podcast and I hope you feel safe and seen. And yeah, that's why I wanted this to be a members only club. It's an open club, but it's a members only club for those who are chronically online, because I think there's a lot of us who are. There's a lot of us who are chronically online who, relate to each other based on what we are seeing. But there's a lot of people who are not chronically online and they don't get us. And that's okay, because this is your safe space. So welcome to Scroll Society, a podcast for those who are constantly on their timeline. And yeah, we're going to be discussing a lot of crazy things. And the reason why I decided to launch this podcast for the new year, I am filming this today is Monday the 30th of December. I am hoping I can get the editing done so I can upload this for the 31st. If it's not the 31st, it'll be the 1st, inshallah. But anyways, what I want to do is do a recap of this year. So I hope you really enjoy this episode. This episode will be a year in review, all of the crazy things that happened in 2024. And when I was trying to do my research, I'm like, oh my God, there are so many things that happened this year that I'm just like, this happened in 2024? I completely forgot about this. This is not very demure. This is not very mindful. Okay, let's just begin because I feel like we have a lot to discuss. I have my notes here. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm so sorry if I'm just going to be referring to things in video form. I have a notebook with all of my notes of all of the things that happened in this year. And I did this like a week ago, okay? And then there are more things that happened. Like ever since I wrote this episode I'm like, okay, all the crazy things that happened this year, da-da-da-da-da. In the last 24 hours, 3 planes crash landed in different parts of the world. And I'm like, that's not going to make my fear of flying any better. And then this, like the last couple of days, the whole Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing just exploded. Like I thought we finished. I thought this ended with all of us in August. Was it August, September? I thought we were done with this. And now we're here in Christmas, the end of the year. And this is like the story that everyone's running with because it's Christmas. Celebrities are just chilling. They're celebrating with their families and they're not trying to do anything newsworthy. And the press is just chilling. And I feel like the Blake Lively team are like, bam, this is what y'all are going to talk about for the next couple of days until the new year, until the new cycle picks up. And it's just, we have a lot to discuss. So let's get into it. So I guess since I started, I have things in order, but I'm like, you know what? Like we don't have to do this in order. We can just start the way we want to start. I'm going to take a sip of my sparkling water from Frio. This is not a paid ad. He probably doesn't know that we're doing this and this is going to be featured, but this is like one of the best sparkling waters that I've ever drunk in my life ever. This is so, so good. And it's locally made in Dubai, and it's really, really good. And they come in flavors. They have grapefruit and lemon and coconut and mango. And I must say, this is so good. So anyways, let's get into it. So Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni drama. Over the summer, we had this blockbuster film. I guess it was a blockbuster film called It Ends With Us. It is a movie about domestic violence starring Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Blake Lively, everyone knows her as Serena van der Woodsen. I gotta go. And, Justin Baldoni from the TV show Jane the Virgin. That's only, I think, the last time I've ever heard of Justin Baldoni, other than the fact that he has his own podcast called Man Enough, which we will discuss in a bit. So he produced this film called It Ends With Us, based off of a book that he was very emotionally attached to called It Ends With Us. I think I already said that. Anyways, and it's a book, a story about this woman and how she gets into a very violent relationship with her husband and then how she gets out of it, okay? And it's a very emotional story, and it's a story that, touches a lot of people. In my personal opinion, I didn't really like the film because I felt like it really romanticized a violent relationship. Even though I do understand it is from the lens of a woman who is in a battered relationship, and, a lot of the times you're very much love bombed and you wish to see the good in a person, especially your partner, the father of your child, whatever it is. But I didn't feel like it really showed us the true nature of what a narcissist is. Sure, he was very aggressive, but I didn't get guys, there was too much romance. There was too much romance with, I'm going to ruin, if you didn't watch the movie, it's been 6 months, okay? So if I'm going to ruin it for you, I'm going to ruin it. Spoiler alert. But the film was very much about her relationship with her husband, Ryle, who is an abuser, but also the relationship with her first love. I forgot what his name was. I'm sorry. He was not that, I didn't like that relationship. He was not that memorable, but it was, anyways, with her high school sweetheart, who then comes and rescues her and saves the day, and they start this love story. And I felt like we got so much, so tied into the relationship with her, her ex, that, the one that got away, that it wasn't that illuminating about what an actual narcissistic abusive relationship looks like. It kind of just brushed over it, and it gave us a very generalized observation of domestic violence. Whereas, like, domestic violence is there's a lot more depth and complexities when it comes to that type of relationship. And like, I know because I've read books, I have friends who've been in that type of relationship. I've seen it firsthand with them, that I'm just like, I feel like, there's a lot of stalking, there's a lot of threatening, there's a lot of that we didn't see. Like, he let go of her very quickly. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, doesn't seem like an accurate relationship. Plus, women in domestic violence situations, it takes 7 to 8 times for them to be able to fully leave that type of relationship. So I feel like, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me, and I didn't like that movie. So anyways, based off what we saw in the movie, there's a lot of drama that happened outside the movie. Over the summer, there was a huge divide between the 2 stars of this film, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, right? Justin Baldoni being the director, producer, and the star of the film, okay? And Blake Lively being the star of the film as well, and the producer or co-producer or executive producer. I don't really understand what executive producer means, but whatever. Producer. And when they were promoting the film, it just seemed like there was a divide between the 2 camps of how they wanted to promote the film. Blake Lively was making it like a fun, floral, grab your girls and watch this movie. It's going to be a rom-com, chick flick, beautiful love story. When it wasn't about a love story. Like, it was a love story, but it was a heavy, heavy topic. Whereas Justin Baldoni was promoting this film as what it really was, like focusing and centering the story around domestic violence and, survivor stories and bringing in the survivors. And he was he talked more about the importance of making this film, whereas it just felt like Blake Lively's camp and the rest of the cast were like, grab your girls, grab your florals, this is my hair care product, and this is me, and this is what I'm gonna, like, it was very hard to watch. When, as someone who loves to watch these things and watch the drama unfold, it was so hard to watch, and it was so hard to separate Blake from Serena, because it just really felt very out of touch. Especially to the topic and the sensitive topic of this film, it just felt very, very out of touch. And so obviously it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and a lot of people dragged Serena. I can never see Blake as not Serena. They are one and the same. Sorry. Everyone dragged Blake. Everyone dragged Blake Lively, and I think she had a really rough summer. I'm not gonna lie. So the fact of the matter is, Blake's PR took a hit. Ryan Reynolds' PR took a hit because a lot of people started speculating that he made a lot of changes in the script, and they came off as like an interfering couple, and they just wanted to control, and they didn't come off as very likable, especially when we had this like overlap between Deadpool and It Ends With Us, like 2 things that shouldn't be together, like almost like trying to give us Barbieheimer. If you guys remember, Barbie and Oppenheimer were going to be released around the same time in the summer, and people were like, oh, Barbieheimer, and they, tongue-in-cheek, was very cute, it wasn't intentional, but it just happened. It was like, organic, whereas it felt like with It Ends With Us and Deadpool Wolverine, it just felt like they really forced this like cool overlapping of promotion and stuff, and it really took away from the true meaning of this movie. Like, people, do we not understand that, when we want to make films like this of such sensitive matter, it is supposed to have an impact. It is supposed to mean something. It is supposed to change people's perception and encourage them to be more empathetic, sympathetic, and aware of certain situations. And yet we're like making light of this because, Deadpool and Wolverine and like Ryan Reynolds, and he's so funny. Like, come on. So anyways, that happened over the summer, and people just forgot about it. The news cycle went on and whatever. Like, I feel like if Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds just stayed silent and just moved on, like, we would have forgotten about this whole thing. However, last week, Blake Lively dropped a huge lawsuit. And it wasn't a suit, it was a complaint. It was like a pre-lawsuit, that's what people say. So she hasn't taken him to court yet, but this is the official filing. I guess I don't understand legal terms in the United States. You guys are just very complicated. Anyways, she filed this suit where she said that he sexually harassed her. And she said a lot of damning things, and she managed to get text messages between him and his publicist, etc., etc., etc. And now a lot of people are dragging Justin Baldoni for being a creep, a weirdo, someone who sexually harassed her, and that's why they don't like each other, and all these things. Now, I'm not here to say that I don't believe Blake Lively. I feel like if what had happened is true, then that's absolutely disgusting, and Justin Baldoni needs to be dragged. And look, I'm going to get into the whole Justin Baldoni situation in a bit, so please be patient. I know I've been talking about this for quite some time, but this is a very interesting topic. But if you read the lawsuit, she's suing him for two things, or she's complaining about him for two things. The first thing is the sexual harassment suit. The second thing is the smear campaign, and that's what she's claiming happened to her over the summer. That it was all a calculated smear campaign, not the fact that she came off as tone deaf, but the fact that, this was all orchestrated by Justin Baldoni and his camp. Which is very interesting because as someone who is on the other side, as someone who has consumed both of their interviews, I really do feel like she came off as out of touch, tone deaf to the subject material that she was trying to promote, in my personal opinion. And it just felt very tone deaf for her to launch her hair care line at the same time, to do all of these cute little events like for the movie, like for her brand. So she has an alcohol brand, and she did like Betty Buzz, themed, like, what is it called? It ends with us themed drinks for like the premiere. And I'm just like, girl, the movie is about DV. The movie is about domestic violence, and you are creating cute little cocktails. Like, it is not Justin Baldoni's calculated smear campaign. If he had sexually harassed you, that is one thing, and we stand by you for that, because no woman should be put in a situation where she feels uncomfortable or is objectified by a man, especially if someone that you're working with, etc. Like, that's not okay. And all the things that she said in her suit is not okay. But to say that he ruined your reputation, you did that on your own, Serena. Like, you did that on your own. Like, people had already didn't like you because of the way that you chose to speak to reporters, the way you chose to promote this film, the language, the attitude. And I know she said in her lawsuit that Sony had told her that she needed to say, grab your florals and grab your girls and whatever. But at the same time, there were many questions that were asked to you about the DV, and you were not just dismissive, but rude. Like when that one reporter said, what if someone wanted to speak to you, or, on the street, they were like, I'm a survivor of domestic violence and your movie really helped move me, or whatever it was. She was like, oh, do they want my number? Do they want my address? What do they want? Like, girl, it came off as really, really bitchy. It came off as you don't understand how to deal with people who have gone through certain traumas. So for me, I have a really hard time with this lawsuit being about a smear campaign. I believe the sexual stuff. I believe the sexual harassment may have happened, but I feel like we're taking it a step too far when we're saying that he smeared you. No, you smeared yourself. And that's my personal opinion. That is just how I see it and how I observe it. Now, when it comes to Justin Baldoni, look, I've always kind of liked him before, especially during his time in Jane the Virgin. I was just like, oh, this guy is hot and he is very intuitive with his emotions, and he's trying to get out of this whole toxic masculinity situation. But I also feel like a lot of it is performative. And especially with the harassment lawsuit, I'm just like, okay, is this a front? Are we projecting? Are we pretending to be like this perfect man so that you can, like hide behind this image and then you can still be a creep? Do you know what I mean? Like, because you have two types of creeps. You have the creep who's like so openly a creep. And then you have creeps who are like, no, I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. I'm the feminist. I'm here to stand by you and I'm here to respect you. But like, also I want to be a creep. And no one's going to believe you because I've always been like this good guy. You know what I mean? So there could be a lot of truth in that. And I'm starting to not buy his like good guy image, because I feel like if you really are a good guy, you don't need to tell us, you just need to show us. I'm a more of a shower person. Like, I'm not a shower, my girl. No, but like I'm the type of person who appreciates actions as opposed to appreciating just talk. Like anyone can talk. You can talk for hours, just like me right now on this podcast. You can shit talk as much as you want, but it's all about action. Like a person shows who they really are based off of how they act. And so I feel like he does a lot of talking about being a good guy, but like I don't see a lot of, then again, I don't know him personally, but I don't see a lot of good things. I personally think we're going to be getting this like Johnny Depp, Amber Heard version 2.0 of a lawsuit. I do not think they're going to be doing anything with cameras. Like we're not going to be getting anything inside, because I don't think they want it to blow up as much as it did with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. But I feel like we're going to be getting a lot of PR war. Like a lot of this camp said this and this camp said this, and a lot of people are going to be getting involved, and this is going to blow up a lot in 2025, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the tea, okay? Like this is the type of shit I love to see. So grab your popcorn, because 2025 is going to be so interesting. Anyways, speaking of celebrities, it has been a very rough year for celebs, okay? Like, I didn't realize that a lot of shit had happened in the celeb sphere, and a lot of people are, like, turning on them. Like, we are in the eat the rich era. We are so done with celebrities. And again, I'm here for it. This is a type of tea that I love. But I think with the downfall of Diddy in the next year, this is going to be so interesting. Like, shit's gonna hit the fan, because it's already started. It has already started. So for those of you who don't know, y'all know Diddy, the diddler. Diddy has been accused criminally for trafficking young girls and hosting all of these freak-off parties where he drugs a lot of people and then takes advantage of them. And he has a lot of, he has an organized machine to do this. And a lot of celebrities are allegedly involved. And this has been the topic of conversation for me that is like, I live for this. Because I want to know what celebrities are associated with the diddler. Like we have J-Lo, who used to date him. And she's trying so hard to like pull herself away from the Diddy situation. You've got DJ Khaled, or DJ Sellout, who also is very much associated with the diddler. Let's not forget Jay-Z and Beyonce. Okay, I have been dragged by the Beehive for even saying anything about Beyonce and Jay-Z. But you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid too much, or like are worshiping at the altar of Beyonce if you think that these people are good people. Okay, and Jay-Z is getting dragged into all of this. And so I feel like 2025 is going to be so interesting. Going back to the diddler. I love saying the diddler. Because we have Jaguar Wright, who has been the MVP of all of this, okay? This woman, I believe everything she says. She seems like she's crazy, and everyone calls her crazy. But I love this woman. I love this woman because she is giving us the tea. She is giving us all the information. She is throwing around all of these accusations. And I'm like, yes. Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm here for it. I am here for it. So allegedly, a lot of celebrities are involved. Allegedly, like huge celebrities like basketball players, Kevin Hart. We even have him on video. Justin Bieber. But I feel like Justin Bieber is a very interesting one because he breaks my heart. Because I feel like he was abused by the diddler and Usher. I can't look at Usher the same way anymore. Like, I feel so disgusted. Even though Usher's allegedly a victim as well, but like I feel like he grew up into becoming a predator himself. But it's just so interesting to see like how all of these celebrities are connected and like what could be going down. So I didn't explain this properly because my brain is like literally all over the place. But apparently, allegedly, the diddler is a thug. Okay, the diddler's a thug. He is he's in the organized crime network, and allegedly he has these freak-off parties where a lot of celebrities and high-end people come and they party, and apparently the parties are so, out there, according to Ashton Kutcher, another person who is associated to the diddler. And apparently he like drugs all of these celebrities with baby oil. Like there's some drugs in the baby oil. And he drugs a lot of people that he traffics, like young girls and young boys. Yeah. And he coerces people, puts them in compromising positions and records it and then holds it against them. Do you know what I mean? Which is giving Epstein, if I'm not going to lie. Like it is giving Jeffrey Epstein. It is giving Mossad. It is giving intelligence. So I don't know. Like I feel like there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we don't know, because like why is he recording people? For what? For money? For what? Power? Power over who? Who are you working for? That's the real question I think that we need to ask when we're talking about Diddy. Who are you working for? Because there's no way that there's just one guy who has this like organized crime organization or whatever, and he's working alone. Like, what is your purpose? What was the reason? What was the reason? It's just so strange. And I feel like there's a lot of things happening that are beyond our knowledge, you know? And I feel like Diddy is the equivalent of Epstein for the entertainment industry. Like you have Epstein for the political and, you know, the higher ups, the political industry, the more academic industry, that type of field where it's a lot serious. You've got CEOs and finance and politics. And then you've got Diddy, who does the same for the entertainment industry, for Hollywood. Oh, Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians, they also have an association to Diddy. Like a lot of celebrities are so associated to Diddy, and you have to look at them sideways. Look at them with a big question mark, like, you've been partying with Diddy. Have you been doing something that's a little bit suspicious? Allegedly, I have to say that. It's just very interesting because I look at every single celebrity and I with a side eye, like I'm like, you've been pictured with Diddy. I wonder, you know? So it's just such an interesting thing, but it's also really sickening. Like I'm not saying this to say like, oh, this is so entertaining. This is not entertaining. This is very scary. It's a very scary situation. However, it is interesting to see how Hollywood is slowly crumbling. That is interesting for me. I feel like we are at the downfall of celebrities. We are at the downfall of like worshiping celebrity culture. Things are shifting. Things are changing. People are no longer interested in idolizing these celebrities. They're now becoming more human, and we're starting to see a lot of their flaws, which again, great, very interesting. And I feel like we're living in an interesting time. I wonder like, with this whole like thing, everything's like shifting. I wonder how the hierarchy is going to change. Like who is going to be replaced? Like if it's not Hollywood, who is it? Is it like the influencer world? Is it like, what is it? I'm very curious. I'm sorry. I'm just putting this out there. And I feel like I'm going to be I want to do a full episode on Diddy, because today's just like a yearly roundup, and we're already 34 minutes in, and we've only talked about Blake Lively and Diddy. So let's keep it moving. So speaking of the celebrity downfall, we had the Met Gala and the Eat the Rich situation, and I thought, wow, that is actually so interesting. If you guys don't know, every single year we have the Met Gala, and all these celebrities come in the most like pompous outfits they've ever worn, based on a theme that like Miss Anna Wintour decided. Vogue magazine, and yeah, they like, it's very expensive and it's really hard to get invited, and like these celebrities come and they're wearing all of these like outfits that can never be worn again, and it's just very like unnecessary shit that rich people do. You know what I mean? It's very The Capitol, and it's very Hunger Games, and this is all happening while there is a genocide happening on the other side of the world, right? where people are literally being bombed, starved to death, killed just for being who they are, and are being forcibly taken out of their homes by a colonizing state. So this is all happening, and people are protesting outside of the Met Gala because, you know, they want the attention to be on the things that actually matter in this world, right? And yet all these celebrities are like, I'm wearing my boyfriend's sweater. Like, I thought this would be so cute. Like, I'm being lifted and carried by these, like, bodyguards because I can't walk. And at the same time, on the other side of the world, people are being carried because they've lost their limbs. So it is a very stark contrast with what things are happening in the world. And it just genuinely did feel like we are living in the Hunger Games, and the Met Gala was the capital, and, you know, the Hunger Games was actually happening in Gaza. So obviously, understandably, a lot of people were already upset. Already we are exhausted. We are tired of seeing all of this injustice happen and no one doing anything. And people are just filled with rage and filled with anger because they're helpless. You don't know what to do. What are you supposed to do? Right? What are you supposed to do in a situation like this? You do the most that you can do, but if people aren't listening, you know, it's a very hard thing. It's very sad to see that this is the world that we live in. So anyways, people were obviously really, really upset. And then there was this influencer called Hailey Bailey. And she got invited to the Met Gala to report outside. So she wasn't invited inside the Met Gala, just for clarification, because that's what she said. She wasn't invited to go inside the party, but she was invited to kind of like report live from the red carpet kind of situation. And she was standing near a protest for Gaza. The protest in which all of these celebrities had to pass through to get into the Met Gala. And she decided to record a video while she was dressed up in a very Marie Antoinette-like outfit, where she said, "Let them eat cake." You know, and it just, having her being so tone deaf next to people or next to an area where people were protesting for people to stay alive, for the war to stop, not the war, the genocide to stop. And for her to be like, but like, let them eat cake if they're starving. It just did feel like Marie Antoinette. And it felt like, you know, a lot of people were like, you know what? Fuck this shit, eat the rich. And we had a celebrity blockout. We blocked influencers, we blocked celebrities, we blocked anyone who did not use their platform and their power to do good. And guys, I loved it. I was here for it. And we had a celebrity blockout. And I feel like a lot of people kind of woke up to the idea of like, oh my God, like I'm idolizing these people and they don't even care about me. They don't even care about the world. They don't care about human life. They care about themselves. They care about their pockets. They care about their money. They do not care about lasting impact. They don't care about humanity. And it's not like you have to be like, oh my God, I care about politics or whatever. But if there's a genocide, guys, if there's a genocide where people are dying, it is basic human nature to give a shit. It is not normal not to give a shit when you are seeing with your own eyes what we are seeing. You know, a lot of people always say, like, how did these things happen in World War II? Like, how were they able to do all of this? This is how, because people didn't care enough about human life. They cared more about themselves. They cared more about their pockets. They cared more about their comfort. So to those people, shame on you. Especially if you have a platform, shame on you. Shame on you for not using your platform to at least do what you can to try to move the needle, even if you just raise awareness just a little bit. Shame on you. So yeah, I find it so interesting that we're seeing the fall of celebrity. You know, like there's a mass awakening. People are gaining their consciousness and they're realizing like, oh my God, I'm giving so much attention to celebrities who are stupid, who are dumb, who don't give a shit about me. And we're making them famous and we're making them rich off of the backs of our attention. So, you know, I love the fact that we have redirected our attention to people who matter. I think that's a very good thing. And I really hope that we take that same energy and take it into the new year. Whew, that was quite a topic, and we are 40 minutes into this. I'm going to edit a lot of this, of course, so it sounds like it's 40 minutes, but it's 40 minutes of me talking to myself. Anyways, and we've only talked about 2 things. But since we're talking about eating the rich, I think this is going to be an Eat the Rich episode. I feel like 2024, summarized, eat the rich. Okay. I wanted to talk about the Ambani wedding. Guys, I know the Ambanis are like one of the richest people in India, in the world. Okay. Like they, you have money and then you have money. But can someone please explain to me why they needed to have like a year-long wedding? Why did these people need to get married like every single day? I need someone to understand. Like, I need someone to explain this to me. I understand in Indian culture, they have like multiple day celebrations. We have that too. I'm from the GCC. We have many different celebratory events, which is completely understandable. Celebrate. By all means, please celebrate. But why are we celebrating on multiple continents? And why are we bringing so many people? This Ambani wedding it was so confusing because every time we're like, oh, they're celebrating their wedding. I'm like, didn't they get married? Are we not done with this shit? Like, can we just stop? They're doing a party in London and they're doing a party in Italy and they're doing a party in India and they're doing a party in whatever. I'm like, just let it go. And they bring so many celebrities. Like, they got Rihanna coming out of her retirement. They got Justin Bieber to come do a couple of songs. They had Andre Bocelli. No, I don't know if they had Andre Bocelli, but I just wanted to do the Kim Kardashian situation. Imagine they did. I would find it so funny if they had Andre Bocelli in Italy and then like Kim Kardashian's like, you know what? I had Andre Bocelli in my wedding in Italy and they had it too. I just found it very interesting and it was very gross and it was a very gross display of wealth. Like, guys, I got into a few arguments with people online based off of my, opinions. They're like, yeah, just let rich people use their money. You're just so jealous that you don't have money. Like, bro, even if I had all of that money, I wouldn't do that. Like, I feel like it's just a gross display of wealth, to go above and beyond to just throw money at shit. I don't know. I feel like if I had that type of money, I still wouldn't display that much of wealth. It just feels very nouveau riche, if I'm not gonna lie, because it's like, what are you trying to prove? Like, if you are so confident in yourself and your money and your wealth, you're the Ambanis. Everyone knows you're rich. Like, isn't that enough? Isn't it enough? Like, everyone knows you are the Ambanis. Everyone knows that you could buy their whole life. Their mother, their, everything. Like, you have so much money to move the world. Like, what do you need to prove by having a year-long wedding? And why aren't you working is my question. Like, if you have all of this money, you're spending a full fucking year celebrating. Like, do the people in your social network not have jobs? And even if they don't have jobs, like, they have their own family business, whatever, like, do you guys have so much free time? Like, I don't understand. And are your friends not sick of this shit? Like, if my friend told me, Shahed, I'm getting married and like, I want you to be there for every single celebration. And we're going to start in Mumbai and then we're going to go all around the world. We're going to party in Dubai and then we're going to party in London. Then we're going to party in Florence and then we're going to party in whatever. And I'm going to be like, girl, enough. I'm exhausted. I have to get outfits for every single occasion. And I have to, there's just a lot of work and a lot of effort. And I feel like you're having all these parties for who? There's no way like the same people are flying around with you unless like all of you guys have nothing to do. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Am I thinking way too much into this? Like, am I just not in the tax bracket to understand? I feel like I'm not, but also at the same time, I feel like it's exhausting. It is exhausting. And so, yeah, I feel like with the rise of social media and the news and all of these things, I do feel like in 2025, we're going to be seeing a eat the rich kind of situation because like there is such a disgusting and gross misuse of wealth. When I say misuse, like, you're free to do whatever you want with your money. No one's telling you don't do whatever you want with your money, but stop flaunting it. Like, stop showing and projecting. Like, do whatever you want, buy whatever you want, but stop like telling the world, look at me, I'm rich, like whatever. Like, you're rich. You're like, with the Ambanis, you're rich. Everyone knows you're rich. Everyone, like, we know, we get it. You're the Ambanis. Like, what do you have to prove? Like, do it quietly. Be demure. Be mindful. Anyways, speaking of demure and mindful, at the beginning of the year, someone was very demure and very mindful that she disappeared for a couple of months, and a lot of people were speculating about where she was. And if you guys are not sure who I'm talking about Princess Kate. Princess Kate. Kate Middleton. Lady Catherine. Is she Lady? Princess Catherine? Whatever. Anyways. She disappeared for like 3 months and everyone thought she died. Everyone's like, where's Kate? Where's Kate? What did they do with her? Like, there was an ambulance that, like, on Christmas Day or like Boxing Day or whatever it was. Like, this time last year, there was an ambulance that left Kensington Palace and everyone's like, oh my God, what's happening? Did she die? Like, is she in a coma? Where's William? Where are the kids? All of these things. And then we start to see like pictures of her, allegedly her, and it's not her. Like, her face looks different, her body looks different, she's just different, and everyone's like, where's Kate? Where's Kate? And then we got a video where she announced that she had cancer, but everyone's like, this is AI. I feel like this is AI, which I feel like AI has really fucked things for us because we trust nothing. But it was very strange. And then she comes out, she says she has cancer, and everyone's like, oh, sorry, we didn't know. But I'm not gonna lie, when she came out publicly later, I feel like she had a facelift. I feel like, yeah, they didn't tell us what type of cancer she had. I'm not trying, again, I feel like, I know, because I sound like a bitch. I sound like one of those people who are like, is a hater. I'm not a hater. I am Team Kate when it comes to the Windsors, because I feel like they are not nice people. Look at what they did to Diana. But I feel like, like, why wouldn't they tell us what type of cancer? Like, wouldn't it be better for us to know what type of cancer? Like, we know King Charles has prostate cancer, right? Like, we know he has cancer too. Also, makes me think to myself, what is in the palace? Like, are they being exposed to some some form of toxic chemical that's in the walls from, like, back in the day when they didn't have safety regulations on like certain paints or whatever? Like, like, that's where my mind goes. I'm like, what is happening in the palace that a lot of people are getting cancer? But at the same time, I'm just like, why wouldn't they tell us what type of cancer she is? And I do understand that we need to respect people's privacies, but at the same time, British taxpayers are paying for her treatment. Like, they need to know what type of treatment she's getting. And also at the same time, I feel like a lot of people would relate to her more. Like, it would be a very good PR move for the royal family. And I know it's sad to say PR move, but they are the firm. They call themselves the firm. They operate as a business. So it is a very good business move or strategic move to share these vulnerable moments for the sake of likability and for them to keep being the royal family that takes all of the taxpayer money. You know what I mean? Like, make her more relatable as opposed to less relatable. So I don't understand. Unless she doesn't have it. And there's a lot of speculation online that says that she doesn't. A lot of people are like, no, she doesn't have it. She just had a facelift. But, you're not allowed to get a facelift as someone who is taking taxpayer dollars or pounds, taxpayer money. Because, you're not using it. Like, people don't want to pay for your facelift or your plastic surgery. Like, people would rather their tax money goes to something better. So a lot of people are speculating, and this is just the people online, but I am very inclined to believe that because it makes a lot of sense, that she got a facelift because she looks a lot better now. She looks very snatched. Her face looks very full. That she got a facelift, stayed out of the public eye for a couple of months. And she's playing this story. Maybe she does have pre-cancer because she doesn't have cancer. They said she has pre-cancer. Maybe she does have pre-cancer. But like, they're really riding on this cancer story without telling us what it is, without giving us the full details, especially when she went missing for 3 months. Like, you guys are, who is running your public relations? Who is running your public relations? Because you're not doing a good job. You're not doing a good job. I'm just saying. The public sentiment and the people are not buying this shit. You need to re-strategize. And then in the new year, you need to get a new team. Anyways, that's I'm trying to cut the story short. I talk a lot. I'm sorry, but this is a podcast, so I can do it as long as I want. But I'm going to try to keep it short for my own editing so that I can finish this quickly and put this out for you quickly so you guys can be entertained for the new year. Anyways, I want to talk about the Olympics because that was a big event for this year. The Olympics happen is it every 4 years or every 5 years? Let me ask Google. Or let me ask ChatGPT. How often do the Olympics? Okay, so the Olympics take place every 4 years, alternating between the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics every 2 years. Okay. Interesting. So anyways, we had the Summer Olympics this year in Paris, France, and let's say it was quite an eventful Olympics, and I don't think Paris is ever going to be hosting any events in the near future because so much shit went down. Like, where does one begin? Like, I was on Olympic TikTok. I was dedicated to this event because I was just like, Paris is not ready. I don't feel like Paris is ready. Like, I love Paris. I have a love-hate relationship with Paris because I love history and I feel like Paris, the history. The Eiffel Tower. I don't like the Eiffel Tower for the romance. I love the Eiffel Tower for the tire. I love the Eiffel Tower for the story. Like the fact that, it was built for the first World Expo. Well, it wasn't the first World Expo, but for a World Expo. Fun fact about the Eiffel Tower, the Parisians hated it. They thought it was an eyesore. They will even petition to have it taken down. And now it is the building or iconic structure that people fly into to see. Whereas when it was built, all the Parisians are like, this is disgusting. This is horrible. This is eyesore. We need to take it down now. And I guess if future Parisians or Parisians in this day, they're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Our ancestors were stupid, So yeah, I like Paris for those reasons. I love the Louvre. I love there's so much culture. There's so much culture. There's so much art. But at the same time, there's so much crime. Like, it's not safe. There's a lot of rodents. They have a rodent and pest issue. Like last year, was it last year? Yeah, 2023, they had a tick problem. Like they had a lot of bed bugs that were going around the metro and the hotels and all of these things. And I was just like, sacre bleu. Like, what is happening? You are so dirty. Like, you are going to host the Olympics. Like, what is going to happen? Like, do not get me started on French. If I'm going to speak in a French accent, it's going to be like this for the rest of the podcast. I need to stop. Anyways, so they had all these issues. And then, they were supposed to have people swim in the Seine River as part of I think the swimming not the normal swimming, like a triathlon and river swimming, whatever. It's one of the sports that they have. Rowing in the Seine. They wanted to do a lot of sports in the Seine River. But the Seine River is disgusting. It is filled with sewage water. There's a lot of shit in that water, and it took them billions of pounds, euros. I get confused with currencies these days. But anyways, they had to spend billions of money, currency, okay, to try to clean the water, and it still wasn't clean enough. Are you happy? You stick your nose up to the rest of the world because it is not living up to your standard, and yet you still couldn't clean your river, but you were set to host the Olympics. Brother, disgusting shit. And look, there was a lot of things that happened in the Olympics, and I jotted a few things down. Before the Olympics, the French team decided that they were going to ban the hijab. Even though they had hijabis, they had French Olympians who are going to participate in the Olympics who were not allowed to wear their hijabs, which is absolutely disgusting. I understand, France, that you're trying to be secular and you do not want religion, but you're saying this, but you're pretty Islamophobic, And it's really rich for you to say shit like this when you colonized half of the world and forced them to live a life like you. You genocided half of the world, and then you come and be like, oh, you know, but I do not want you to be in my country, and if you want to be in my country, we have to have you not be covered. So you come to our countries and you force us to live your life, and then when we want to live in your countries, we also have to be forced to live your life. Like, you do not respect our rules, but then we have to respect your rules. What happened to just living, coexisting together, you know? I have a lot of shade for the French, like, your history, your attitude, your Islamophobia. Like, what happened in the Olympics is just your karma. It's just starting. Anyways. So we had the hijab ban, and that was disgusting enough in itself. We had the dirty river, which drink your own shit. And then we had the opening ceremony, which was a disaster, to say the least. It was absolutely vile and disgusting because it had nothing to do with what, like, I think the French are, nor did it have anything to do with what the Olympics is. Like, it was just a drag show. I understand you wanting to make a point about certain things, but like, stop shoving shit down our throat. Like, you talk about one thing, saying like, we stop shoving Islam down our throat, but then like you shove this shit. Like, you are trying to be secular, but you're still shoving your political agenda down everyone's throats. Some people will say this is hypocritical. I sound like the guy from the Pink Panther. But like, seriously, like, hypocrites. It makes no sense to me why having a full drag show was relevant to a World Olympic event. It is not a French event. It is a world event. You have countries from 180 plus different nationalities, right? Like, people are coming from different religions and cultures. As a host country, it is your responsibility to respect your guests. That is the core of being hospitable, respecting your guests. And having this display of your own political agenda, trying to shove your values down everyone's throats, was not respectful. Especially when you're trying to recreate, like, you know, they said it was supposed to be this like Greek story, whatever, but it genuinely looked like the Last Supper. So you're like insulting half of your guests because half of your guests are Christian or even Muslims or whatever. Like, we all believe in Jesus. And by having this gross display of wokeness, like, you've insulted a lot of your guests. You've insulted a lot of the people. You've insulted half of the world. And then you want people to respect you. Like, you insult us and then you want us to respect you and be like, oh, that's fine. That's their values. Like, no, that's not how you do it, babe. That's not how you do it. Okay? Like, you want to be yourself and live your life. Do that, but don't do it in a way where you're trying to insult everyone and laugh in their faces and mock their beliefs. Okay? Okay. But that's not all that happened in the Olympics this year. Like I said, it was a very eventful Olympics. We had that guy who, we had Bulgegate, and I'm just going to leave it at that because my mom watches this podcast and I don't want to talk about it, but just Google it if you didn't live through it already. But that was a very funny situation. Bulge pole jumper Olympics 2024. Just Google that. That's all you need. And then we had the breakdancer, the Australian breakdancer, the celebrity that Australia did not want to have. The person who made Australia famous for all the wrong reasons. First of all, I did not know that breakdancing was a Olympic sport, like ever entered Olympic sports. I didn't know that you could be an Olympic breakdancer because I don't understand breakdancing. Like, I'm not a dancer. And I know that there's a lot of dancing and like gymnastics and synchronized swimming all in the Olympics, and they get judged off of, I guess, form and choreography and all of these things. But I don't understand breakdancing. And so I didn't understand what I was seeing. But I'm not going to lie. I thoroughly enjoyed its virality. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw for what it was. Not that it was really good breakdancing, but for the fact that it was really shit. You know what I mean? Like, I loved it. And what made it even funnier is like, okay, it was this white woman who was breakdancing, but it was also a white woman who who has a master's in breakdancing, which weird. Like, I did not know that we were giving out masters in dancing, and not any type of dancing, but like specifically breakdancing. I feel like there's a master's for everything. Like, can we have a master's for TikTok? Because I would love to teach that. Like, I would love to be a professor in TikTok. Okay, I'd love to be a professor in social media. I would love to do that. Like, hello, call me, I'll make a major for you. No, seriously, please. Like, if there's a university that wants me to teach, I'd love to like create a whole degree in TikTok. Social media. Like, I know I'm not the most viral person, but one day I will be. One day I will be, and one day you'd want me to be your professor. So let's start early. Anyways, so she had a master's in breakdancing, and then she had a thesis on why breakdancing should not be part of the Olympics. And then she competed in the Olympics. And then she made a fool of herself. And I'm like, conspiracy theory hat on. Like, is she trying to get the Olympics to not have breakdancing? Yeah, I think she did. Because the Olympic Committee removed breakdancing from the next Olympics. So I think she, mission accomplished. This was her evil plan all along from down under. The people down under were not happy with the breakdancing being part of the Olympics. Maybe because it takes away from one of their sports. Like, they wanted, maybe this is a revenge story. Maybe they wanted their own sport. They wanted their own, like, maybe kangaroo jacking. I have no idea. I just made this up. I'm sorry. If you're Australian, please don't hate me. Like, this is just a concept. It's a theory. Just run with it. Anyways, like, what if they had like a sport, like, you know, how many shrimps can you put on the Barbie? Or like kangaroo jacks. How many kangaroo jacks can you do and whatever? And, you know, it was between that and breakdancing. And the Australians were like, how dare they? How dare they? That is like the worst Australian accent, but let's roll with it. Okay? So imagine they said that and they're like, you know what? We're going to take breakdancing away from them because the next Olympics, I think, when is the next Olympics? When will Australia host the... okay. So Australia is scheduled to host the Summer Olympics in 2032. So they have 8 more years, if I'm doing my math correctly. Is it? Yes. They have 8 years until they host the Olympics. So I feel like Australia is like, you know what? Breakdancing can't be part of our thing because we're not good at it. We need to get that. I'm going to stop the Australian accent. We need to get that sport out so that we can bring our shrimps on the Barbie in. I'm sorry, Australians. I really am sorry. It's fun. It's fun. It's demure. It's not mindful. So anyways, we had that, which was very, very interesting. And it really opened my eyes to like the world of the Olympics because I did not know that you could introduce new sports. So if you are the Olympic Committee, I have a few sports that we can add. Okay. One of the sports that I think we should include in the Olympics is paddle. I'm not a paddle player, but I have so many of my friends and my relatives who are in the paddle world. And I really feel like I would love to see them compete in the Olympics because it's a sport that they really take seriously. So yeah, like paddle. Paddle is we have tennis. You have all these other sports. You put breakdancing, you're not going to put paddle. Like, put paddle. Olympics Committee. Put paddle. Trust me, it's going to be really interesting and you're going to get a lot of youth, especially from the GCC. Like, can we please add sports in the Olympics that our people can play? Like, you know, you have like rowing and show jumping. Okay, we're also in that. But yeah, running and rock climbing and stuff. Like, put sports that we're also interested in so that our kids can go and compete in the Olympics. Like, we're going to make it more fun. Let's have some competition. Like, you're also going to have half of South America and Spain in this. So put paddle. I'm not a paddle player, but look, we have a tennis painting here. And let's pretend it's a paddle painting. So yeah, that's one sport. The other sport that I think would be really interesting to put into the Olympics is some form of yoga. Don't ask me why. Actually, can you do competitive yoga? Is there such a thing as competitive yoga? Actually, there is. So according to ChatGPT, there is such thing as competitive yoga, although it's a niche activity. It involves performing yoga poses with an emphasis on precision, balance, flexibility, strength, and composure. Participants are judged on their ability to hold challenging poses with a proper form and alignment. And it has been considered as a potential sport for the inclusion in the Olympics. I think I would like to see that, only because I feel like, it is one of those low impact sports that if I put my mind to it, maybe I could be good at it. I've never done like yoga regularly. I do yoga from time to time, but I feel like we need more low impact sports in the Olympics so that we can give more people a chance to be an Olympian. Because if you can be an Olympian in breakdancing, you can be an Olympian in yoga. Okay? And that's it for the Olympics. Oh no, that is not it for the Olympics. We have one more story that I feel like we need to talk about with the Olympics in 2024. And it is the story of Iman Khalif. And it is a story that has really triggered a lot of people. And it's very ironic that it's triggered a lot of people because, like I said, with the opening ceremony, there was a lot of drag and trans and like the woke agenda. And everyone's like, yes, you need to celebrate. You need to celebrate these people. We need to celebrate the transitioners. We need to celebrate the drag. And then when you have a woman who is a little bit masculine, who's a little bit stronger, who does not look like a white woman, who has white features, who is very cutesy and demure. This is going to be like the saying of the year. But anyways, who's very like cute and soft, but also like, I roll with punches. I'm a boxer. Like when you have a girl who's like, fuck yeah, I'm a boxer. And she's taller and she's built a little bit bigger, because not all women are built the same. They're like, she's a man and it's unfair. And we should not have this. But where were you when they were doing the opening ceremony? Silent. You said nothing. You said nothing because the people who were trans and drag and all these things were white. But so long as a woman does not look like your typical woman because she is Arab or she has her own features from her country, because she looks like a specific ethnicity and a race, you're like, she's a cheater. She's a man. She's a man. And we shouldn't have men in women's sports. I agree. We should not have men in women's sports. But where were you when there was a trans swimmer, a man who turned into a woman who was swimming in women's competitions? Where were you? You were silent. You said nothing. But you'll say something if it is a woman who does not look like this type of stereotypical white woman that you want. If she was an Arab woman, if she was taller, if she had a bigger build because she's not built in the same Eurocentric way, you suddenly are upset. And that, my friends, is what we call racism. Shame on you. Anyways, that's it for the Olympics. Let's talk about something cute. And I'm not going to talk about her for such a long time, but I think she's such a cutie and she has entered everyone's little hearts. And like, she is probably my favorite creature of the year, Mudang. Mudang is such a babe. Mudang is such a cutie. She has such an attitude. I love her. Mudang captured all of our hearts. She's this tiny little cute little hippopotamus and she looks like a little cartoon, but she's real life and she's a little shiny and she gets washed and she's like just chilling. And I just want to say this is an appreciation moment for Mudang. Mudang, dang, you got my heart, girl. Such a cutie. I want my own baby hippopotamus. But I also wonder if like the cute factor is going to disappear once she grows older. Like, will she be as cute or is she just going to be a regular hippopotamus? Someone please tell me. Please don't crush my dream. Like, I want her to be so cute. But like, even when she's big. You know that? I wonder if Mudang is going to be like that character. Was her name Gloria in Madagascar? When then you had that, guy who was like, I like him big. I like him chunky. I like him round. I like him plumpy. Like, I wonder if she's going to enter her, like, thick girl era. And she's going to be, like, a heartbreaker in the zoo. I don't know if she's going to be, like, Mudang or she's going to be, like, Mudang. Mudang. And she's going to, be the hottest little girl in the zoo. And then all the male hippopotamuses are, like, we got to repopulate and make little cute Mudings. Moodinglets or whatever. Anyways. She was such a cutie and she captured our hearts in 2024, and she was like a big positive for this year. I want to talk about the year of Love is Blind Habibi because that was such an interesting year. If you guys aren't aware, Netflix released a show called Love is Blind Habibi. So Love is Blind Habibi is a dating show. It's a dating show that launched on Netflix. It's one of their original shows. I think it came out during COVID. And it really became such a successful franchise that they did Love is Blind Sweden, they did Love is Blind Japan, they've done Love is Blind like in every different country, Brazil. And so they brought Love is Blind Habibi to the Middle East. And it was such a hit, unexpectedly, I guess, or maybe it is expected because, you know, it's such a big franchise. But I found it so interesting. And like, guys, fun fact, I was recruited to be on Love is Blind Habibi. They contacted me. They sent me a DM 2 years ago and they're like, hi, would you like to be part of a show? You know, and I was like, what show are we talking about? It was like The Amazing Race. Is it going to be like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Because that's the type of shit that I love. And they're like, no, it's a show. And they didn't want to say the word dating. They said like, it's getting to know people. And okay, it was so interesting. They're like, it's a show. Well, you know, you're going to be getting to know different men, but you're not going to meet them. It's like you get to know them from their voice. You're in a different room and stuff like that. And then we're going to keep it really like respectful of the culture. And I'm like, is this Love is Blind Habibi? I didn't say Habibi. I'm like, is this Love is Blind? And they're like, we are not inclined to say what it is and who the streaming platform is going to be, but like it's going to be huge. And I was just like, look, you slid into my DMs, which means you know my account. So you know that I'm your favorite housewife. You know that I'm married. So like, do your homework, Netflix. Why are you reaching out to me? I mean, I know I'm honored. I know I'm going to be like so cool and funny. I'm joking. But like, it was so funny that they reached out to me, even though like my whole shtick was like being a wifey. You know, it's not like I'm not manifesting it. I've already manifested it. So like, relax. So I had to say no. And they're like, okay, do you know anybody who'd be interested? Like, we're really looking for people from the GCC. I'm like, yeah, I don't know anybody who's going to be wanting to be on TV on an international platform to date. So anyways, I had a feeling that they were going to do Love is Blind Habibi, and then a year and a half later, they announced it. They're like, yeah, we're releasing this show, and we're calling it Love is Blind Habibi in Dubai. And I was like, wow, interesting. So excited to see it. And then, as you guys know, we saw the show and there was a lot of toxic men and toxic women and just red flags everywhere. They gave us everything that we wanted in a show. But at the same time, they didn't represent the Middle East in the best way. Like, it was very, like, they didn't pick a lot of good people. Like, you know, they didn't vet them. Maybe they vetted them enough. Like, you know, they chose people who would bring the drama. And the drama was there. We got a lot of drama on Love is Blind Habibi, but we didn't get good people. I don't think. Like, we didn't get good enough people. I think one of my favorite people that I really loved on the show, and I didn't love her during the show, I loved her after the show. I loved her when I started seeing what the dynamics really were, and that is Noor. Noor is love, is Habibi, is blind. But no, like, she really came off as the queen of the show, and she really lived in the other cast members' mind rent-free. Like, imagine you filmed this a year ago and you finished production, you finished filming, and they still bully you and they still hate you and they still hate on you and they throw shade at you a year later, like when you're just living your best life. And that for me said a lot. It said it all. That, you know, you're hating on a girl because why? Like, was she because she was popular, because she's iconic, because she got more screen time than you? Like, I don't understand, because she got a fan following. And the fact that the more that they threw shade at her, the more that they hated her, the more she became popular and the more they got annoyed. And I'm not giving full context. Like, if you haven't watched Love is Blind Habibi, I'm so sorry that I haven't given you a proper like introduction to them. But I don't want to give the other members like even an ounce of the time, because there's so much toxicity there and there's so much childishness. But I don't like this mob mentality, and I don't like the guys from the show either who think that it's okay to drag a girl and bully a girl. Like, it is the most disgusting, childish act, like, and behavior to bully a woman Why? Because like she hurt your ego. Sorry, like I'm so angry I broke the can. But like did she hurt your ego? You know, like are you so insecure with yourself, or you know that she's not interested in you, and so you feel like in order to make yourself feel better as a man that you have to drag a woman and make fun of her and attack her, especially in the reunion. If you see the way that the men spoke to her, it's so disgusting. It is so disgusting. And guys, I am talking to all of you men from Love is Blind Habibi. Are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed that this is how you show how your parents raised you? Yani, your parents put so much time and effort into raising men, right? And you have, in the way that you guys acted and treated this girl, you showed that their tarbiyah, or like I'm going to say this in Arabic, their tarbiyah, their hard work in trying to raise you and teach you the manners is just gone to waste. It's gone to waste because no parent would accept anyone talking to their daughter that way, right? And no parent would want people to think that their kids are horrible people, and yet there you are, being a horrible person, being an embarrassing person, and being a person who, honestly speaking, is so insecure that they feel the need that they need to drag a woman on TV to feel better about themselves, to feel more masculine. Like, shame on you. Honestly, shame on you. There's such disgusting behavior and so shameful. And then it's also shameful for the other girls to like, like be so pick me. I understand you don't like her and you don't have to like her. You don't have to like everyone, and not everyone is likable. But to allow for that type of behavior and not step in is also embarrassing. And it also is a reflection of the parenting. And I feel so bad for the parents because I'm sure that they raised you better than this, but you didn't make them proud. Like, you know, a parent can try to raise as much as possible, but it's the responsibility of the child to take their learnings. And sometimes people just choose to be horrible people, you know? I don't know where I was going with this. I wanted to talk about Love is Blind Habibi, but it ended up being about bullying. And honestly, that's all I took from Love is Blind Habibi. Yes, it was very entertaining as a show. And yes, there was a lot of like, you know, interesting cultural aspects that people can learn from, you know, about our culture and about our people and about our region when it comes to like love and marriage. But I cannot, like, all of that was erased in my mind. All of the things that we saw and the cute little nuances from the show and this experiment or whatever it is has all like gone to waste because I cannot move past the fact that the latest interactions between all of this cast members has been bullying, and it's been childish, and it's kind of tainted that show for me. And I feel like if Netflix wants to do this again, I know that they're recruiting again for like a new season, that if Netflix wants to do this again, there needs to be proper vetting, and then there needs to be some form of like stepping in, because this is not appropriate. Like, Netflix producers, you need to be better. You need to put the mental health of your cast members in the forefront, because this is not normal and this is not okay and this is not to be encouraged. Like, what are we teaching people by saying, yeah, we're going to give a platform to people who are bullies, or we're going to edit it in a way to make people, you know, bully her or whatever? Like, it's not nice. So yeah, that's my key takeaway from Love is Blind Habibi. I'm going to give myself another 10 minutes to talk about stuff, and then we're done. And then we're going to say goodbye, and we're going to see you in the new year. Okay, speaking of Eat the Rich, I wanted to talk about Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione, who captured our hearts. If you guys are on the Luigi TikTok, you know, side of TikTok, you would know that there was a person who pew-pewed a CEO of a healthcare company in the United States, and it seemed like it was a calculated attack or pew-pewing, because on the bullets it said depose, defend, deny, defend, depose, something like that. Anyways, And then it turned out that there was like this kid who was in his 20s called Luigi. Apparently, allegedly, he was the one who shot this guy. And a lot of people are celebrating Luigi because, you know, the way that the United States has built their like healthcare system, it is completely privatized. You don't have free healthcare. The insurance companies are like just a fraud, and everyone's just trying to make money off of the fact that people are getting sick. So like there are corporations that are making money and profiting off of people's pain and suffering, which is absolutely disgusting. But this is what capitalism is, right? This is what capitalism is, and this is what you get when you put money first and when you make money your religion. You know, I love how the United States or the Western countries are like, yeah, we are secular. We are trying to be like, we remove ourselves from religion. Or like, you know, they say they're Christian, but most of the time they're secular and they want to remove themselves from religion. And yet they do have a religion, and it is the religion of money. I've reached an age now where I feel like capitalism is a religion, and this religion worships money. Okay? Controversial, but it's true. It is true. So a lot of people in the United States were celebrating Luigi because they have no sympathy for someone who profits off of people's pain. And Luigi is kind of like the Robin Hood of this generation, in the sense that, yeah, he did something bad, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like sticking it to the man and doing something good, and seeking revenge for a lot of people who were murdered because of the system, because they didn't qualify for these insurance claims and, you know, were left to suffer and die because the insurance denied them access to healthcare, access to a basic human right. And so, you know, speaking about this and speaking about all that we said before about, like, you know, how we're reaching a point now where a lot of people are in this eat the rich mentality because there's so much we live in a time where there's like such a gross display of wealth. And I feel like a lot of these like wealthy people are just so out of touch, and money becomes such a core in how everyone moves. We no longer move for purpose. Like, there's no purpose. We don't live for the sake of each other. We live for the sake of ourselves, and we live for the sake of just winning. You know, like, it's all become a competition, and we don't coexist. We are fighting to exist. We are fighting to live, and we're fighting each other, and everything is a competition, and everyone's just trying to climb to the top, and they'll climb over each other to get there. And the purpose is very individualistic, as opposed to the purpose being for the sake of living and for the sake of humanity. It's a very strange time. And I feel like we're reaching this disgusting level where the only way now is through change. Like, khalas, like, you've reached a point where it's like there's no more going up to the top. Like, it needs to come down. You know, there must be a shift. There is something changing. And I feel it. Like, the way the celebrity culture is going down, the way that, you know, people are celebrating the shooter, the way that, like, it's just, there's so many things happening at the same time. And then, of course, there's also the fact that we're seeing this genocide happening in real time. And then we're seeing that, like, the world is so dystopian, and it's just so strange, and it's so weird that I feel like we're entering this like mass consciousness where we're all like suddenly realizing, like, you know, when a baby suddenly realizes they have hands, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, I have hands, and these are my hands. Like, what am I doing? You know? And it's that realization, and like everything's starting to make sense, that now we're starting to move and change the way we think, and the way we consume things, and the way we live, and the way we prioritize things. And so it's so interesting to see how, like, mainstream media, which is part of the system that glorifies and pushes for us to make money, and also worships at the altar of money, that the mainstream media is just like, yeah, you know, like, this is disgusting. The people on TikTok and the people on social media who are glorifying the shooter, and he's at the end of the day a murderer or whatever it is. And he has a family, and he's a family man, and he has mother, and he's a wife, and he has kids, and all these things, and they ignore the fact that he is responsible for the murder of so many other people through his policies that he put in this company so that he can make more money for the shareholders, because like at the end of the day, money is power. And so I feel like both Luigi and the CEO, they are both murderers, and they both should be remembered as such. But also at the same time, I also sympathize with Luigi more. His story is still unfolding, which is, we're learning so much about him. But at the end of the day, I have zero sympathy for this United CEO. I feel like if you're responsible for claiming so many lives, or if you're responsible for all of these lives lost, then it was bound to happen in some way or some form, So yeah, I feel like 2025 is going to be so interesting, because it's going to be, I think if we're all going in with this like eat the rich mentality, and people are so bored and so sick of seeing all these things, I feel like we are going to be seeing a very demure and a very mindful 2025. I feel like either the rich people are going to go way above and beyond, and we're going to have like a fucking cultural revolution, or it's going to be more subdued. And things are going to become more private and more quiet and stuff like that, because like they're going to be really scared, or they see that no one cares anymore. So yeah, I think I'm going to end the podcast here, even though I have so much to talk about, and I wanted to talk about so many things. But I'm still trying to figure out how to structure this podcast. And I do apologize if this wasn't structured in the way that, you would have liked, and it didn't flow in the best way possible. And there was a lot of like side conversations and side thoughts. But again, this is just the introductory. This is our first podcast. Mine. I'm doing this alone, but it's ours. It's our community podcast. And you guys are all members of this community of Scroll Society, a members only club for those who are chronically online. And thank you for listening this far. I just want to say I had so much fun doing this. I feel like I'm excited to take this step, and I'm excited in my core for 2025. I have a very good feeling, inshallah. I have a very good feeling about this podcast. Like I said, I know this podcast episode has been all over the place, but if you've listened this far, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your constant support. For those of you who have been asking me for the last couple of months, like, when are you coming back? We want a podcast. Like, thank you for your patience, and thank you for giving me the courage and the confidence to come out of this and to come here and to show up again. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do this, and I was very nervous and I was very scared, because my confidence was shook, and it was a very traumatic experience. I know this sounds very silly to say, but now that I realize it, like I just this year has been a lot for me. 2024, I know as chaotic as it has been, it's been a very, very interesting year. And I feel like I've grown a lot, but that growth has not come out of nowhere, and it's come through a lot of shit, and dealing with a lot of shit, and dealing with a lot of different types of people. And I guess like you learn from your experiences and you grow. So I'm very appreciative of all of the situations and all of the things that got me here, but it was not easy. And I know it sounds really silly and ridiculous to say like, oh, it's just a podcast. You're just talking in front of a camera, but like there's a lot that goes into this. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. And thank you for standing by me through this year. I couldn't have done this without you guys, and I wouldn't be able to do this and show up right now here without you guys. So I just want to say thank you. Like, your messages really mean the world to me. Your support really means the world to me. Every time you guys like, follow, share, like genuinely, I know that sounds silly, but like it really means the world. And so I'm very thankful. I'm very appreciative. And I'm excited to start this podcast. I'm so excited. I've been so nervous, but like now that I'm here and now we're doing this, I'm excited to see where this goes. And I know like it's been quite an episode. And I'm still trying to figure out the flow, and I'm still trying to figure out like the intro. And I'm going to say something. I put so much thought into this that it really stopped me from starting. Like I think I was supposed to start beginning of December, and I just kept trying to make excuses like, no, I need to have this done. I need to be able to do this. I need to have a headshot. I need to have a proper set. I need to have a proper camera. I need to have a proper, and I made so many excuses because I was just so nervous, because I didn't realize that I was very much traumatized, and I needed to work through my trauma to be able to come back to doing this. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for all of your kind messages and your support. And I'm so excited to start the Scroll Society podcast. And yeah, welcome to my podcast. Welcome to Scroll Society, a members only club for those who are chronically online. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, I'll see you in the new year. Bye, guys.